In this video, we're going to be talking about the Park Pass Reservation system and how it will likely work at Disneyland once Disneyland reopens. We'll talk about why you'll be required to make a reservation before you visit the parks and how this will likely impact your future visits to Disneyland. Hey there, I'm Eric D, and on this channel my hope is always to make your next Disney adventure a little bit more magical with tips and tricks, food reviews, and news. So if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. But over the past week we have continued to see preparations for the reopening of Disneyland continue, with Disney adding more hand washing stations and other little things going on, whether it be adding tape to the ground, at the main entrance, or new signs popping up. Little things were being reported on social media throughout the week, but sadly, we don't have any updates from the state of California on when the theme park guidelines will be released. Yesterday, September 14th, marks 6 months since Disneyland has been closed. And while Disneyland has been pretty reserved when it comes to their discussions with the state, that seems to be changing, as the Orange County Register ran an article saying, a trade organization representing Disney, Universal, Six Flags, SeaWorld, Knott's, and Legoland has called on Governor Gavin Newsom to reopen California theme parks on the 6-month anniversary of the coronavirus closure of Disneyland. The official statement read, California's amusement parks urge the governor to issue amusement park guidelines expeditiously so these vital community attractions can reopen their doors in a responsible manner and get residents back to work. So it seems like Disney might be pushing back a little bit harder than they have in the past. So we'll have to see how the governor responds to this. And as of September 10th, Disneyland canceled all hotel reservations going up to September 26th. So really there's not much hope anymore of September being the opening date, but I thought it would be good in this video to discuss the Park Pass reservation system because I've been getting a lot of questions of people asking how they're going to limit capacity and what that might look like. And this is going to be pretty important to know because even though the parks are going to be open, that doesn't guarantee we're going to be able to get in just yet. If you have been following every tweet and blog post from the Disney Parks blog, then this may be old news to you, but it's still very important to be aware of, because once Disneyland gets the green light to reopen and they announce the reopening date, you will need to use the Park Pass reservation system to get access to Disneyland no matter what type of ticket you have. So just because they'll be able to reopen doesn't mean everyone will be able to get in. So far this is what Disneyland has said. The Disneyland Resort will open with some important updates to promote physical distancing, including park reservations. Because theme park capacity will be significantly limited to comply with governmental requirements and promote physical distancing, we will manage attendance through a new theme park reservation system that will require all guests, including annual pass holders, to obtain a reservation for park entry in advance. Theme park reservations will be subject to availability. More details about this new reservation system will be available soon. Also, Disney goes on to say, new ticket sales. At this time, we are temporarily pausing new ticket sales and annual passport sales and renewals. Additional details will be provided soon. While that still seems pretty vague, we can make the educated guess that Disneyland is going to follow a lot of the same policies that they've been practicing at Walt Disney World and kind of learning and tweaking there. So this is what we know about Walt Disney World's Park Pass system. The number of theme park reservation days you can hold at one time varies based on your plans. Disney Resort hotel guests can make park reservations for dates during their stay for the number of days that they have valid theme park admission. Annual pass holders can make theme park reservations for up to 3 days at a time, and for the length of their stay if they are staying at a Disney Resort hotel. Existing ticket holders can make reservations for the number of days of valid theme park admission on their ticket. So in Disneyland's case, this would mean if you are staying at one of the 3 resort hotels, you can make reservations for the length of your stay as long as you also have a valid park ticket or annual pass. If you are an annual pass holder, you can reserve up to 3 days at a time. Once you use one of those days, you can reserve another day in the future to remain at your limit of 3 days at a time. And if you bought a standard ticket, whether that is 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, etc., you can use that to make the reservations for the length of your ticket. And for Walt Disney World, they have actually divided the reservations into those 3 categories. As you can see when I was checking the calendar, there was limited availability for annual pass holders, especially on weekends, and not just in September, but also going into October and November. But you can see plenty of availability for resort hotel guests and for standard ticket holders. You may be asking why Disney would break down the groups like this, but I think Bob Chapek, Disney's CEO, explained it well as he discussed these different groups.
As you know, different guests, depending on where they're coming from, have different relative values in terms of their contribution as a guest to the park. And typically somebody who travels and stays for 5 to 7 days is marginally more valuable to the business than someone who comes in on an annual pass and stays a day or two and consumes less merchandise and food and beverage.
So for those guests who may be spending $500, $600, even $700 a night for a hotel room, Disney is going to want to make sure they have access to the parks. And for those guests who are coming for several days and are planning to likely eat in the parks for breakfast, lunch, and dinner over several days period for their once a year or every other year trip, Disney is going to want to make sure they're having that opportunity to do that. So they want to leave availability open for those people. Whereas if it's an annual pass holder who might just be coming after work on a Friday night for dinner or maybe just a Saturday every few weeks, they're not offering quite the same value as these other guests who are staying for multiple days, buying multiple meals. And once again, I know there's plenty of annual pass holders who are spending plenty of money. I'm an annual pass holder who spends plenty of money, so I'm not being a hater. I'm just saying how Disney is viewing this, and this is why Disney is trying to make sure there is reservations available to each of these three groups. But the thing that slightly concerns me, there have already been days at Walt Disney World when annual pass holders were unable to get to the parks that they wanted to because the reservations were filled. And according to the Orange County Register, Disneyland reportedly has nearly 1 million annual pass holders, far more than Disney World. And the Disneyland Resort has 2 parks compared to the 4 parks of Walt Disney World, so less places to put all those guests. And yes, Disneyland does have less resort hotels than Walt Disney World, so they won't need to devote as many reservations to hotel guests, but I still think it's going to be interesting to see how Disneyland pulls this off with the annual pass holder community. We have seen at Walt Disney World that the Park Pass system is dynamic in that as time goes on, and if Disney isn't seeing the hotels fill up like they thought they would, or if they aren't seeing the demand from regular ticketed guests, that they can move some of those park reservations over to the annual pass holders. And ideally, as time goes on, the park capacity will continue to go up as conditions improve. But from our experience so far with California's blueprint to a safer economy, it seems like it will be a much slower process of increasing capacity at Disneyland compared to Florida. And while Disneyland doesn't release daily park capacity numbers, if there really are close to 1 million annual pass holders, and Disney is having to limit park capacity to let's say 20 to 25%, and of that, regular ticketed guests and hotel guests would have to take a portion of that 20 to 25% capacity, it is very possible that it could take well over a month or maybe even 2 before each annual pass holder was able to experience their first day back at Disneyland. Disney knows this isn't an ideal situation, and it will be interesting to see how they handle it, because in Shanghai, they didn't restart the pass holder clock in the sense that even though the park was reopened, it didn't count down the days, it wasn't taking away days until they were able to increase the capacity enough, and then it started to say, okay, your annual pass is kind of active and normal again, you're going to start losing days on it. Whereas in Walt Disney World, that annual pass holder clock did start again, but what they did there is they actually gave everyone 30 additional days, so they added basically a month to everyone's pass to say, we know this isn't an ideal situation, but we're going to either give you 30 additional days, or if you want to, you can opt out and we'll give you a refund for however much you had left on your pass, we'll give you that much money back. Limited access won't be the only change we need to get used to if Disneyland follows Walt Disney World's lead. At Walt Disney World, there's currently no park hopping for the time being, no early entry, which at Disneyland is usually a benefit for some standard multi-day tickets and for resort hotel guests. And also at Walt Disney World, for the time being, no Fast Pass. So it makes me wonder, what does that mean for those who already have their ticket or annual pass and have paid for Max Pass? Disney is great with customer service, and I'm sure they already have a plan for how to make up for any of these changes that might impact guests, and they're likely just waiting for an opening date to share more. But it will be interesting to see what they do, because this is a challenging situation. So I know this video might seem like a bit of a downer, but that is not my intent. From those I've talked to and also those reports that I've read, those people who are going to Walt Disney World and using the Park Pass reservation system, they've had a great time. Of course, it's helping to keep people safe by reducing the capacity, making sure there's that physical distancing. And for those people who understand the reservation system and how it works and how they need to plan ahead, for the most part what I'm hearing is they're able to get into the parks they want to, and it's working well for them. So we need to be aware of how to do that if we want to have that. So to finish up, I'll briefly walk you through how Walt Disney World's reservation system works. You'll need to confirm your ticket or annual pass is linked to your Disney account. So when it comes time to do this at Disneyland, you could do this on the Disneyland website or the Disneyland app. For the system at Walt Disney World, you are able to create a party to include your family and friends that you'll be visiting with. You can then select a date and select which park you want to visit that day. And also you will choose from available arrival times, so everyone doesn't show up at the park at the exact same time. Then you review and confirm your plans. And then you'll be able to do this for the other days you want to visit. I know I've been saying this for a while, but I really do feel like we'll be getting an announcement soon. So if you plan to visit soon after the reopening, make sure you are prepared to make those reservations. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a like. And in the comments below, I would love to hear your reaction to the Park Pass reservation system. How is this going to impact your future visits in the near future? Is it something where you're going to be like, you know what, I'm just going to wait until things are totally back to normal, I don't want to be making reservations? Or is it something where you're like, you know what, because capacity is going to be limited and because I can be guaranteed to get into the park if I make a reservation, this sounds reasonable. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see y'all again real soon. Bye.